with so much cheating, lying, dishonesty in news, when someone talks about truth, the person feels like a moral dinosaur. Let's explore. Truth is a universal value. But here we are not going to discuss truth. We'll be talking about commitment to truth. As humans, when we live in a society, we have to have this commitment to truth. And what is surprising is we all don't mind compromising with commitment to truth once in a while. In fact, not only in personal lives, most professions, let it be industry, let it be corporates, let it be public services, everywhere the issue is commitment to truth. And today in this video, we'll be exploring not the definition or meaning of the word truth. We'll be exploring commitment to truth, the importance, why commitment to truth is so important in today's world. Speaking of compromises with commitment to truth, it's not only lesser mortals like us. It's even the high and mighty, celebrated, award-winning people also have somewhere down the line have compromised with truth-telling once in a while. For example, there was this Nobel Peace Prize winner from Guatemala called Rigoberta Menchú. She wrote a book, Rigoberta Menchú, where she talks about her experiences, where she talks about the political violence that plagued Guatemala between 1979 and 1983. And she wrote a lot from her personal experiences. And what was surprising was later, this anthropologist called David Stoll, he dug into it. He did extensive research. He interviewed people. And after doing his research, he started questioning the validity of Rigoberta Menchú's conclusions. In fact, there was a point where he pointed out that a lot of experiences that Rigoberta Menchú talks about in her book is little fabricated. So the issue I'm trying to raise here is compromising with truth is not only among us, it's there. A brief historical outline. When we say commitment to truth, almost every religion, almost every philosopher, almost every moral thinker emphasize on truth-telling. In fact, if you look at legal history also, you will find a lot of emphasis on truth-telling. And the reason why there's so much emphasis on commitment to truth is somewhere down the line, we all understand that humans are prone to deception. We don't mind indulging in a little bit of cheating or cutting corners here and there if it suits our purpose. That's precisely the reason dishonest behavior, lying, cheating was always made a punishable offense. Let's go to Babylonian civilization. Let's go to this code of Hammurabi, an ancient code. And Hammurabi's code talks about this only. And the code is, if a citizen appears as a false witness in court, he shall be put to death. Look at this. Dishonest behavior is punished with death. That shows how important was it to be committed to truth. Oh, let's move forward. Kant talks about this. Kant was very, very clear here that you cannot compromise with truth. Commitment to truth was something completely non-negotiable. Well, not only philosopher like Kant, even John Milton, the English poet, he also spoke about the importance of being committed to truth. So right from religion to philosophy to literature, everywhere we see that people valued commitment to truth. Okay, let's leave the Miltons and the Kants aside. Let's come down to our country. Patanjali wrote something called Yoga Sutras, and where he spoke about Ashtanga Yoga. And Ashtanga Yoga means 8 limbs of yoga. And one of the limbs happens to be Yam. And Yam forms a very core limb of Ashtanga Yoga. And Yam is nothing but 5 ethical disciplines. Oh, talking about ethical disciplines, let me tell you something. Everybody, we have this popular imagination that yoga is all about breathing exercises or physical exercise. No, yoga has a very important moral aspect to that. And the moral aspect is nothing but Yam, the 5 principles. And one of the key principles of Yam happens to be Satya. that is commitment to truth. No wonder in those ancient days, everybody spoke about no virtue is more excellent than truth, and no sin is greater than telling an untruth. Now, talking about commitment to truth, I'm sure all of you must have read about Raja Harishchandra. He was one of the greatest practitioners of staying committed to truth. Oh, in fact, if you look at Indian folklore, mythology, everywhere truth was celebrated. Dishonesty was always condemned. Lying was always condemned. So let's explore further about the different dimensions and the importance of truth-telling. Importance of commitment to truth. Let's explore why is it important to stay committed to truth. Now, here again, there's two perspectives. There are some ethicists and philosophers, not some, in fact, most of them. They clearly emphasize that commitment to truth is non-negotiable. That is, you cannot compromise with truth, whatever the circumstances may be. That's one perspective. But there's other growing perspective. Now, this perspective, some of the ethicists who follow this, they're perfectly okay with lying as a last resort. They are okay with this idea that there's nothing wrong in compromising a little bit with commitment to truth if you have a justifiable reason. The word here is justifiable reason for it. So in other words, they do forgiving compromise with commitment to truth once in a while in exceptional situations. But let's keep the debate aside between these two schools of philosophers. Let's come down to our main theme. What's the purpose? Why should I stay committed to truth? I can think of three reasons. One, commitment to truth is very essential to build trust. Second, by displaying a commitment to truth, you're showing in your interpersonal relations that you respect the other person. And third, importantly, commitment to truth is very important for democratic processes to survive, because we all live in a democracy, and in a democracy, truth-telling forms a very integral part of democratic processes. Respect for others. I'm sure some of you must have seen this popular Hollywood movie called Knight's Tale, Hollow Man, and all these pictures were distributed by Sony Pictures. I'm sure you must have enjoyed the movie. And what was interesting was, two Sony Pictures executives created a character called David Manning. In fact, created a movie reviewer called David Manning. And they used this fictitious figure called David Manning to give rave reviews for pictures distributed by Sony Pictures. And this whole scam of fictitious review, creating a fictitious character called David Manning, all broke out in the year 2001. And once this whole scam broke out, a lot of audiences, a lot of moviegoers must have felt very cheated. Because it's a normal tendency. Whenever we want to go for a movie, we don't mind looking at the review, we don't mind going by others' opinion. Now, what Sony Pictures executive did was, by creating this fabricated person called David Manning, they influenced movie reviews. And by doing that, they manipulated the audience, they manipulated the moviegoers. Just imagine how would have they felt to be manipulated by somebody, a person who never existed. So the first thing about commitment to truth is, when you speak the truth, when you don't deceive others, you show that you respect the other person. You know, the opposite of truth is deception. When you deceive others, the first thing that you're doing is you're manipulating the other person. And when you manipulate, you are kind of disrespecting the other person. So the first most important aspect of living together socially is all about respecting the other person. And the respect comes only by not deceiving the other person. Builds trust. I remember as a child reading Alice in Wonderland. And in Alice in Wonderland, there's a very popular phrase, love makes the world go round. In fact, I'll change the phrase for you all. It's not love, it's trust that makes the world go round. You know, the world is all about trust. For example, when you sit in an Uber, sit in a cab, you trust the cab driver to take you to the right spot. For example, next time when you board a plane, you don't go to the pilot's cockpit and ask him, show me your pilot license. You don't do that, right? Because you trust the pilot. The world is all about trust. Have you thought about this? How do you build trust? How do you become trustworthy? Let me tell you something. There's only one mantra to build trust, and that mantra is truth. Commitment to truth. You know, the moment you start deceiving other person, the first thing that happens is you lose trust. So that's why the second big rule of commitment to truth is all about building trust. All relationships are built on trust. Relationships as close as family relationships, friends, everywhere it's all about trust. So that's why commitment to truth has second big role, and that role happens to be building trust. Essential democratic processes. We all live in democracy, and democracy is a complex process. And one of the key foundations of a vibrant democracy is information flow. If you look at government has its own media agencies, there are corporate medias, and democracy is all about freedom of speech. And freedom of speech implies truthful exchange of information, truthful flow of information, or information that is true, not deceptive information, not half-truths. It's about factually correct information. And if you look at today's world, we live in a world of fake news. And fake news is a very antithesis of a vibrant democracy. So for a democracy to survive, we need to have this commitment to truth, collective commitment to truth. And what is shocking is today we live in a world of sensationalism journalism, where journalism is not about factually correct information, where media thrives on sensationalism. So that's why for democracy to succeed, we need to have an informed citizen. An informed citizen means a citizen who has access to factually correct information, not something deceptive, factually correct information. In this video, we learnt about the importance of commitment to truth. Truth is something every religion, every philosopher, every moral thinker spoke about it. But in this video, I didn't discuss the definition of or the meaning of the word truth. I was focusing on the relevance of truth, the role truth plays in our lives. And there are three essential roles that truth plays. One, truth facilitates trust building. Second, by practicing truth, what you do is you display that you respect the other person. And third, most importantly, truth telling is at premium in today's democracies. Why? Because with so much of fake news going around, factually correct information flow only arms a citizen, only makes the democracies more vibrant. That's why commitment to truth matters. See you next time. Happy learning.